Hi, welcome back to Danny Harris Arts. Well, as you can see behind me, it looks like snow on the ground, but it's not snow. That is solid ice. We had a few days ago, we had a major storm front that rode through the southeastern part of the United States, and here in South Arkansas, where I am, we got about a quarter-inch of freezing rain, and it just glazed everything. And in the next 24 hours or so, it sleeted. So we got about 4 or 5 inches of sleet on top of that. So it's just a mess out here. I mean, that deceptively looks like snow, but it's like an ice rink walking out across that. But anyway, this video segment is going to be on carving the tail section of the golden rainbow trout project. And I initially recorded it in with carving the fins back in the summer, but that video was running long, so I decided to take this part out and do it as a separate segment because you can actually see it better than you can on the fins, and there's more detail in it. So like I say, I'm doing it as a standalone video. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to leave them for me in the comment section below. And if you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing and give me a thumbs up if you like these videos. So I'm gonna get back in the house where it's nice and warm and get this video edited. So what I'm doing here is just sneaking up on my center line that I have drawn on it. Just doing a little bit at a time. Get one down, taking your time, because you will blow through if you're not careful. Ask me how I know. I want to take just a couple minutes here to talk about something else that's near and dear to my heart. As some of you know, I've competed in a couple times in the World Taxidermy and Fish Carving Championship, once in 2022 and then again in 2024. And at the end of the event, all the competitors, the judges, the show organizers get together and we have a big round table discussion, and we talk about the week, how it went, what was good, what could be done better. And one of the discussions that came up this year was we've noticed a lack of participation in the fish carving division. The taxidermy side was breaking all kinds of participation records, but fish carving was a little less the last 2 years. So we talked about ways to increase that. And a fellow wood carver friend of mine named Bo Westman from Sweden and myself kind of come up with the idea of starting the Facebook group that was dedicated to hyper-realistic fish carving. There's a lot of wood carving groups out there that showcase people's work, and it's more of a gallery to show their work, and people get on and say, nice job, awesome, great work, that sort of thing. That doesn't help anybody grow. So our idea was to make it more of a learning group, and we got guys in the group that are world-class master fish carvers that have won multiple best in world titles. Guys like Josh Googie, Don Frank, Ted Richmond, Clark Schreibus, I don't know if I butchered his name or not, and then Bo Westman, and there's a lot of others that have done well over the years in competition. And what we do is we encourage guys to post pictures of their work in progress, and then these guys will chime in and let you know what looks good and what can be improved, and they do it in a gentle way and just an honest critique without tearing you down. And that's the way to grow. Whenever I post something and something doesn't look quite right and somebody comes in and says, hey, those scales are not in line, or that fin doesn't look right, they offer suggestions to make it look better, and that helps me grow as a wood carver. So after the Facebook suggestion, everybody seemed to think it was a good idea, and they pretty much overwhelmingly nominated Bo and myself to start this group and get it kicked off, which we did. And the only problem is Bo is in Sweden and he's 7 hours ahead of me here in Arkansas, and so there's only a couple short windows of the day where we're both actually awake and moving around. So But we managed to get it going, and I think it's growing pretty good. We're getting new members daily, and if you're on Facebook, come check us out. It's called Fish Carving Inspiration. Fish carving, one word, but there are 2 questions you have to answer, 2 simple questions, and then you have to agree to the rules before membership will be approved. So whether you're a new carver, just starting, or experienced, or taxidermist looking to start carving, come check us out and be sure and answer those 2 questions. Also keep in mind we focus on hyper-realism. We want it to look as real as possible, so we don't deal in any kind of fish decoys or lure carving. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not our focus, so we don't allow any of those styles to be discussed. We want to keep it focused on the hyper-realism, with the exception of natural wood finished pieces, because that is a category in competition, so we do allow that style of carving. I mentioned Breakthrough Magazine and the World Taxidermy Fish Carving Championship, and when we started this group, we weren't actually affiliated with them in any way, just basically competitors wanting to help and improve the competition. One of the things we kicked around was maybe approaching Larry Bloomquist, the owner of Breakthrough Magazine, or actually he sold it, but he's still part of it. But approaching them and asking if we could maybe submit short articles in the magazine covering the fish carving competition. In the meantime, one day I was on Facebook and I come across Breakthrough Magazine's Facebook page. So I contacted the administration and asked them, told them who we were and what we were doing, and asked them if they would mind promoting our group in their Facebook group. And it turned out that it was Kathy Bloomquist, Larry's wife, and she loved the idea and said she would do it, to send her all the information on it. Well, I didn't hear back from her for a couple days, and then I got a email from Larry himself, and she had forwarded him all the information, and he sent me an email and basically said he loved the group and he loved the idea and he wanted to talk to me about it. So he was on the deer stand at the time and said he spent 2 hours perusing the group and looking through it, and really enjoyed it and thought it was a great idea. And so we set up a time to call and talk to each other, and got on the phone with him, and oh Lord, we talked for 45 minutes and we talked about the group. And he let me know he wanted to do a full article in the magazine about the group and our direction and what we're doing and how we started it and where it was going, which is great. We didn't expect that and was really excited that he would be willing to do that for us. So I told him our plan about approaching him and see if maybe they would let us submit an article quarterly in the magazine about fish carving in the group. And he kind of laughed and he said that was my next stop. He wants us to get together and submit an article each quarter for the magazine about the group and fish carving. So we're excited about that. So there'll be several of us in the group that will be writing articles for future issues in Breakthrough Magazine about the group and about fish carving techniques. So I hope you guys will consider joining our fish carving inspiration group and possibly looking up Breakthrough Magazine and joining their Facebook group, and maybe even subscribing to the magazine. The magazine itself is really well done. Larry's done a great job with it over the years. There's always a ton of taxidermy tips and tricks and articles, many of which can apply to fish carvers. And now that we'll be submitting our own fish carving articles in there, there'll be something for fish carvers as well. Okay, I've talked long enough about that, so I hope you guys will check us out, and I'm going to get back to carving now. This is one of my favorite tools I use here for sanding, this padded drum sander. This is 3-inch, got a 1/4-inch shaft, and it's got padding on it. And you have to use emery cloth on that, not sandpaper, because it'll fly off. You also don't want to use it full speed. And I got these at MDI Wood Carving Supply. I think Treeline also has them. But I've got two. I keep one loaded with 120 grit and one with 240. And I've also got some smaller ones that are like an inch long and about a half inch, quarter inch in diameter. Works great for getting in tight spots. Just going to draw on these fin rays here to kind of get them spaced out where they're supposed to be. This is an inverted cone diamond bit that I'm using now to define the fin rays. Now I'm going to use this little flame bird bit to go in the lines that I just made with the inverted cone to widen them a little bit and soften them up. By using that inverted cone, it leaves a track for this flame bird to run down. Makes it easier to hold it steady coming down the line. I still get out the line every once in a while though. Now I'm switching over to this ball nose bit. It's just a little bit bigger than the flame bird, and it just kind of helps widen it out a little bit more. Starts defining the actual fin ray itself. I'm going to have to use a segment off of the dorsal fin to do the detail on the fin rays themselves, because for some reason the segment on the tail didn't record, probably because I forgot to hit record. But anyway, this is off of the previous video, but it's the same process, same steps I take to do the detail on the tail, so this will show you how I did that. So now I'm going to use this little tiny, it's got a little disc on the end of it, real thin disc. And I've got another one here that's even finer that I'll go through and do the final ones. And where these kind of splay out, I'm going right down the center from about halfway. And splitting that little where it starts splaying. Now that's probably hard to see. Now I'm going to put this finer one on. I can do these other ones here on the side. So now I'm going to come about 2/3 of the way up. Right beside the one I just did, down the middle. And splitting them again. You'll be able to see this better when I get on the tail, because its tail's a little bigger. It'll be the same principle, same technique. Now I'm going to thin this edge down a little bit more and put some splits in it, because it doesn't look natural for that to be just straight and even. They always usually have some little splits in the fins. So I'm just going to go on the edge of this. This will thin it out some too.
you can see that or not. Starting to get a little bit of jagged edge on it. So now I'm going to make some of those even bigger. And I'm going to go in between the splines. Now I got to do it to all these and the tail, and do it on all. This is for all 3 trout, so there is 3 trout. If you haven't been keeping up, I am working on 3 at the same time. So that's the dorsal fin. All right. Okay, so one of the other things I do when I finish a fin is I've got this homemade Scotch-Brite wheel that I make, and I got a video on how I make these. All right, that's going to be it for this segment. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions or comments about the process, leave them for me in the comment section below, and I'll answer them just as quick as I can. But I appreciate you guys watching. If you're new to the channel, I'd really appreciate it if you consider subscribing, and be sure and give me a thumbs up if you like these videos and get something out of them. It really helps the channel grow if you do that for me. But I appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next segment, which will be burning the scales. And if I have time, I'll mount the fins in that segment also. But I'll see you then.